Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the absolute most critical, yet honestly frequently overlooked financial protections in the entire trucking industry. Look, when you're managing a fleet, your mind is constantly spinning, right? You're thinking about DOT violations, cargo claims, highway accidents. But today, we're going to shine a light on a silent threat that can literally dismantle a thriving transport business overnight if you aren't prepared. So let's just cut right to the chase and ask the massive question that every single fleet manager or owner needs to confront today. What happens if a driver gets hurt? And we're not just talking about a huge highway collision here, but during the everyday grind of the job. Because in this industry, the question really isn't if an injury will happen, it's just a matter of when. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll quickly cover Section 1, the hidden trucking risk. Then Section 2, what it covers. After that, Section 3 tackles the misclassification trap. Section 4 gets into calculating the true cost. And finally, Section 5 is all about protecting your business. Let's jump in. Section 1, the hidden trucking risk. We're talking about the unseen dangers in the trucking industry that you might just be ignoring while you're busy worrying about those cargo claims. The reality is, trucking is just a notoriously high-risk industry. Think about the everyday hazards your team faces. We're talking about a rogue forklift, the physical strain of loading docks, falling from a trailer, severe back strains. It's so much more than just highway wrecks. The physical stress of the job makes injury claims incredibly common, way more than you'd see in your standard office environment for sure. To put this in perspective, imagine a driver simply slipping while climbing off a trailer. It happens every single day. That one slip can easily result in a broken ankle, which means immediate surgery, and suddenly that driver is unable to work for, say, 4 months. The medical bill alone can easily hit $65,000, 65 grand, and that doesn't even factor in the thousands more you're looking at in lost wages. And what if you don't have coverage when that slip happens? Well, your business is staring down a cascade of absolute financial disasters. We're talking direct lawsuits from the injured employee, incredibly steep government penalties and fines, and ultimately a severe financial hardship that could completely bankrupt a small carrier. Moving on to Section 2, what does it cover? Now that we understand the very real stakes, let's break down the foundation of workers' comp. At its core, workers' compensation insurance steps in to pay for the medical, financial, and physical recovery of your team. And remember, this doesn't just apply to the driver sitting behind the wheel. It covers your warehouse workers, your mechanics, loaders, and even dispatch employees who happen to get injured while they're on the clock. So the really crucial point here is that it covers 5 major areas. It handles the full medical care, hospitals, surgeries, meds. It replaces lost wages, which is typically around 60 to 70% of their income, depending on your state. It provides disability benefits if the injury is temporary or permanent. It covers rehabilitation, like physical therapy, to get them back on the job. And, tragically, if the worst happens, it provides death benefits to support surviving families and cover funeral costs. Now let's tackle a really common assumption in the industry. A lot of owners think, well, workers' comp only helps the employees. Actually, scratch that. It protects businesses too. It's a massive misconception. Before this system existed, injured workers literally had to sue their employers just to survive. That created endless, ruinous lawsuits. This coverage exists specifically to shield your business from those massive legal settlements by giving injured workers immediate, structured benefits. It's essentially a shield for your company. All right, Section 3, the misclassification trap. We really need to examine the crucial difference between an employee and an independent contractor. People mix these two up all the time, but they carry completely different legal weights. Workers' comp is typically state-regulated, offers much stronger protections, and is legally required for actual employees. Occupational accident insurance, on the other hand, that's a cheaper, less comprehensive option designed specifically for independent contractors and owner-operators. And here is exactly where the trap snaps shut. Let's say a company tries to classify actual employees as independent contractors just to save a few bucks on payroll taxes and workers' comp costs. Well, if a driver gets injured and the state investigates and decides you incorrectly labeled them, you are going to be hit with devastating back premiums, massive fines, all those unpaid injury claims, and a severe lawsuit risk. It is an incredibly expensive mistake. Let's dive into Section 4, calculating the true cost. We're going to look closely at the harsh financial reality of being uninsured. Imagine one of your mechanics gets severely injured while repairing a truck in the shop. Without workers' comp coverage, your business is suddenly staring down the barrel of a medical bill like this, $90,000. You're entirely on the hook. Just one incident like that can completely shut down a small trucking operation literally overnight. So, how are your actual insurance premiums calculated? Because trucking is a high-risk industry, your baseline is naturally going to be higher than an office business. But factors like frequent injury claims, the overall size of your payroll, whether you're running long-haul versus local routes, and a lack of safety programs or driver experience, those will absolutely spike your costs. It's simple math. More claims equals higher premiums. Finally, Section 5, protecting your business. Let's quickly outline the proactive steps and best practices you need to put in place right now. When an injury inevitably happens, the claim follows an exact 6-step life cycle. It starts with the injury being reported, then moves to medical treatment, an investigation by the insurer, benefit approval, wage replacement, and finally, a return to work evaluation. Understanding this flow is exactly why immediate, accurate documentation is absolutely critical from the very second an incident occurs. Now, if you want to keep those claims down in the first place, you've got to remember that insurance companies absolutely love safety. Underwriters look really closely at your safety programs, regular driver education, accident prevention protocols, and DOT compliance to decide your rates. Having a strong safety culture directly reduces your injuries, which reduces your claims, which, you guessed it, slashes your overall insurance costs. To keep your business safe, you've got to avoid these 4 really common industry mistakes. Number 1, assuming contractors never need coverage, because honestly, state laws vary wildly on this. Number 2, hiding payroll to lower your premiums. That's fraud, and it leads to audits and your policy being canceled. Number 3 is running weak safety programs. And number 4, delaying your injury reports, which just complicates claims and creates massive legal headaches. So, what's your next move? Before you buy or renew any policy, you need to sit down with your insurance agent and demand clear answers to these exact questions. Make them explain your specific state requirements, clarify if your owner-operators and subcontractors are properly covered, outline the policy exclusions, and confirm if your current setup is legally compliant. Do not leave any gaps. Because ultimately, waiting until after a serious injury happens to get coverage, that's a gamble your trucking business literally cannot afford to take. By the time a heavy pallet falls or a crash happens, the lawsuits have already started, and the medical bills are exploding. Getting this right protects your employees, yes, but it also protects your future. So I'll leave you with this. When the inevitable happens in this high-risk industry, will your business be shielded, or will one slip on an icy trailer erase everything you've built?